Osho, From Personality to Individuality, Answers to the Seekers of the Path, given in Rajneeshpuram, Oregon, USA. Discourse number 1.
Bhagwan, what place has mysticism in your religion?
My religion is pure mysticism. There is nothing else in it. The other religions have no place of mysticism in them. They cannot have, for the simple reason that they have answers for every question. Bogus answers without any evidence, with no arguments, but yet for gullible humanity. They are consoling. They demystify existence. All knowledge demystifies existence. And I don't teach you knowledgeability. On the other hand, all the religions just do that. They make you knowledgeable. They have a God as the creator. They have messengers of God bringing all the answers from the original source. Indubitable, infallible. These religions could exploit humanity for a simple reason. Because man feels in a kind of inner unease when there are questions and there is no way to find the answer. Questions are there. Man is born with questions, with a big question mark in his heart. And it is good. It is fortunate that man is born with a question mark. Otherwise he will be just another species of animals. Buffaloes have no questions. They accept whatsoever is unquestionably. They are really faithful, religious. Trees have no questions. Birds have no questions. It is only the man and man's prerogative his privilege. In the whole existence, he is alone who is capable of asking a question. The old religions have been trying to destroy your privilege. They have been forcing you down to the level of the animals. That's what they call faith, undoubting faith. They want you to be buffaloes, donkeys, but not men. Because man's only special quality that defines him separate from animalhood is the question mark. Yes, it is a turmoil. Certainly to live without any questions is peaceful. But that peace is a dead peace. It has no life in it. That silence is the silence of a cemetery. Of the graveyard. I would prefer men to be in a turmoil, but alive. I would not like him to become a graveyard. That peace, that silence is at a great cost. You are losing your life. You are losing your intelligence. You are losing all possibilities of discovering an ecstatic way of life. That question mark is not there without any significance. It is not the work of the devil that each child is born with doubt, not with faith. Doubt is natural. Each child is asking 1,001 questions. The more a child asks the questions, the more potential he is showing that he will be able to discover something. There are dumb children too. Not literally dumb, but psychologically dumb. Parents like them very much because they don't create any trouble, they don't ask any questions. Even a small child can destroy all your knowledgeability. I am reminded of my own childhood. So many things that will help you to understand the beauty of the question mark. And unless you understand the question mark as something intrinsic to your humanity, to your dignity, you will not understand what mysticism is. Mystifying is not mysticism. Mystifying is what the priests have been doing. They have taken your question mark. They have destroyed your possibility to explore into the mystery of existence. But they have to give you some substitute, some lollipop. That is mystifying. And that's what all the scriptures have been doing. Their basic methodology has been the same. For example, in Hinduism, the scriptures are written in a very difficult language, Sanskrit. Not a single Indian speaks it. It is a dead language. And as far as I am concerned, I have tried hard whether it has ever been alive, and I have not found a single evidence. It has always been dead from the very beginning. It was born dead. It was invented by the priests. People have never used it. People cannot use it. It is so sophisticated, so grammatical, so mathematical, so phonetical, that people cannot use it. When people use a language, the language starts becoming less grammatical, but more alive, less mathematical, but more meaningful. It becomes raw. It is no more polished and sophisticated. And it starts growing. Sanskrit has never grown. A dead thing cannot grow. It is exactly where it was 5,000 years before. No growth. Obviously, a dead thing cannot grow. A living language used by people goes on growing. Its words become more and more rounded, just like stones slipping into the river start becoming round. The continuous flow of the river, the continuous hitting with other rocks, other stones, gives them a roundness. This can be seen, and you can immediately define what languages are dead and what languages are living. The living languages will never be perfect. The dead languages will be always perfect. Because living languages are used by imperfect, fallible human beings. And from mouth to mouth, they go on changing. They become more and more usable. For example, in India, English was introduced from the outside. Few words are bound to go into people's use. For example, the word station. Now, there has never been anything like a station in India before. It came after the English language had already come. Then the railways were introduced, and of course the word station was there. But you move all over India in the villages and you will never find a single Indian, I mean 98% of Indians who don't know English, using the word station. It is too difficult, too sophisticated. Using it, they have made, without anybody making it, just by use, they have come to the word station. That is simple. Station seems to be a little difficult. Strain is there. Station. Report. Now, it came with the English language, the police stations, and you have to report. But go to the villages and you will be surprised. Nobody uses the word report. They use the word rapat. It has become rounded. Rapat. The sophistication of report, the difficulty of report is gone. Rapat. That seems to be human. And so many words, and they tell a tremendously meaningful story. That when words are used by people, then they start taking a shape of their own. By mere usage, they go on changing. Sanskrit remains static. Hebrew, Arabic, Greek, Latin, they all remain static. Far above people's heads, far above their hands. Sanskrit was never the language of the people. This is mystifying. The whole country depended on the priesthood. In Sanskrit they will be saying pure rubbish. Once you know it, you will be surprised that what is sacred about it. But chanted in Sanskrit, you don't know what it means. You are mystified. To keep the scriptures sacred, it was necessary to keep them secret. They should not reach to the people. People should not be able to read them. Whenever they need, the priest is available. He will read it. Hindus were very reluctant when printing was introduced, that their scriptures should be printed, because that means what will happen to their mystifying that they have been for thousands of years maintaining. They have mystified the whole country, that they have all the secrets in their sacred books, but those sacred books ,99% are simply cow dung. For Hindus it may be holy, but to nobody else it is holy. When they were translated into other languages, the mystifying process stopped. Hinduism lost its height, glory, because now you can read it in any language. All those scriptures are available. Mahavira never spoke in Sanskrit. Gautam Buddha never spoke in Sanskrit. For the simple reason, because they were trying to defy the priesthood. They spoke in the language of the people. They were condemned by the priesthood that this is not the right way. You should speak in Sanskrit, and you both are perfectly educated. Both were sons of great kings. You know Sanskrit, so why you speak ordinary people's languages? They said for a certain reason, because we want people to know that this mystifying has to be exposed. There is nothing in your scriptures, but because they are in a language which nobody understands, then it is left to the people's imagination. Even the priest may not be understanding them what he is reciting, because Sanskrit is to be learned by memorizing, not by understanding. There is a great difference between the two. Sanskrit has to be learned by root, memory. You have to memorize it. Its whole emphasis is on memory, not understanding. There is no need to be bothered what it means. All that you should be concerned about is how it is chanted. And of course, it is a very beautiful language having the quality of singing. You can memorize a song easily than the same length prose. Poetry is easily memorized. Hence, all the languages who have depended on memory are all poetic. They look like songs. They sound beautiful. Meaning, you should not ask. Because meaning may be just as stupid any today's newspaper. Perhaps even worse because it is 5,000-year-old newspaper. When a Brahmin is chanting it, you will be mystified by his chanting. It creates a certain atmosphere of song. And what is the meaning of his chanting? Perhaps the passage he is chanting means a prayer to God that please destroy the crops of my enemy and let my crops be doubled than the last year. Let the milk disappear from my neighbor's cows, and all that milk should come to my cows. When you understand the meaning, you will say, what nonsense! Where is sacredness? Where is religion? This is religion? But meaning is not to be bothered about. The Mohammedan, if you listen him, from the tower of his mosque, you will be thrilled with its sing-song quality. Arabic is tremendously touching. Goes directly to the heart. It is meant to go there. It is not meant to go to your intellect, to your reason. It is meant to touch your feelings. And it certainly touches. So when you hear Arabic, you will be thrilled that there must be something immensely beautiful in it. It's just the sound makes you so thrilled and excited. What about the meaning? But please don't ask the meaning, because meaning is going to be so third-rate and ugly that you will not be even able to believe it, that this kind of crap can be put into such a beautiful language. Hence, it is not to be allowed for the people to learn the sacred language, the holy language. It is only for the priesthood. That is their monopoly. This is mystifying. This is a substitute to satisfy you, because they have taken away something of immense potential, the question mark, which would have made the whole existence a mystery. They have to give something in substitute, a toy to play with. And they are ready with every kind of answer. Even before the child has asked, they start stuffing him with answers. Just look at the process. If the question has not been asked, the answer is irrelevant. This is what I was going to tell you. In my childhood, they started giving me answers because there was a special class for Jainism in the Jaina temple, and every child had to attend it 1 hour every evening. I refused. I told to my father that in the first place I don't have those questions for which they are supplying answers. And this is stupid. When I have questions, I will go and learn their answers and try to find out whether they are correct or not. Right now I am not interested even in the question. Who created the world? My foot. I am not interested. I know one thing for certain, I have not created it. My father said that you are a strange child. All the children from the homely family are going. Neighborhood, everybody is going. Jainas tend to live into a neighborhood, a close neighborhood. Minorities are afraid of the majority. They remain close to each other. That is more protective. So all the children of the neighborhood are going, and then in the middle of the neighborhood is their temple. That too is for protection. Otherwise it will be burnt any day if it is in the Hindu neighborhood or Mohammedan neighborhood. And it will become difficult if there is a riot. You cannot go to your own temple. And there are people who will not eat without going to the temple. First they have to go to the temple, worship, and then only they can eat. So Jainas live in a small sections of the town, city, village, with their temple in the middle, and surrounding it is their whole community. Everybody is going outside. They may be having questions, or they are idiots. I am not an idiot. And I don't have those questions. So I simply refuse to go. And I know what the teacher goes on teaching to the children is absolute rubbish. My father said, how can you prove that? You always ask me, prove it. Now I ask you, how can you prove that what he says is rubbish? I said, come with me. He had to go many times to many places. Just the argument had to be concluded. And when we reached to the school, the teacher was teaching that Mahavira has these three qualities: omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent, everywhere present. I said, you have listened, now come with me to the temple. The class was just by the side of the temple, an attached room to the temple. I said, now come into the temple. He said, but what for? I said, just come, I will give you the proof. And in Mahavira's statue, what I had done, I had just put a laddu. That is an Indian sweet, round sweet, just like a ball. I had put a laddu on Mahavira's head. So naturally, two rats were sitting on Mahavira's head eating laddu. I said, this is your omnipotent Mahavira. And I have seen these rats pissing on his head. My father said, you are just impossible. Just to prove this, you did all this. I said, what else to do? How to prove? Because I cannot find where Mahavira is. This is the statue. This is the only Mahavira I know and you know and the teacher knows. And he is omnipresent. So he must be present here, seeing the rats, what they are doing to him. He could have driven those rats away, thrown my laddu away. I was not here. I had gone to pick you up. I had arrangement, everything made. Now prove me that this man is omnipresent. And I am not bothered at all. He may be. Why do I care? But before a child even asks a question, you stuff his head with an answer. That is a basic and major crime of all the religions. This is what programming is, conditioning is. These religions condemn me that I am conditioning people. I am simply deconditioning people. Conditioning they have done. They have already filled your minds with all kinds of answers. I am simply destroying those answers so you can find your question. They have covered the question completely. So completely that you have forgotten that you had any question. In fact, you have never asked. No chance has been given to you to be acquainted with your question, with your questioning intelligence. They are so afraid that once you start questioning, just once, then it is difficult to force answers against your will. Because that questioning intelligence will be raising doubts. It will raise more questions against your answer than you could have imagined. So the best way is to commit this basic crime, that the child should be caught earlier the better. And he should be spoon-fed theology, dogmatics, doctrines, catechisms. Before he becomes even aware of the question, he knows all the answers. If you are a Christian, how do you know that there is a Trinity? That God, the Father, the Holy Ghost, the Son, these three make the highest power monopoly. They dominate the world. They are the real dictators. How do you know it? It has been told to you. Perhaps you have forgotten who told you. It was told so early that unless you go deeper than that, backer than that, you will not be able to find who was this fellow who corrupted your mind. Virgin birth. If you are not a Christian, you will immediately object that how a virgin can give birth to a child. But if you are a Christian, you simply don't question it. Because before your questioning arose, the answer was put into you. They have been behaving with you as if you are a computer. Just go on feeding the answer. And if somebody says anything against Christianity, you are ready to kill or be killed for this rubbish that you are not even responsible of discovering on your own. And the person who forced it on you was not knowing himself either. The same was done to him. For centuries it goes on and on. Each generation goes on giving all its stupidities, superstitions to the new generation, thinking that they are helping you to become knowledgeable. And once you become knowledgeable, the doors of mysticism are closed for you. Mysticism means looking at existence without any prejudice. Hence I say no religion can be really mystic. Mystifying, of course, but never mystic. Because to be a mystic, they cannot fulfill the basic condition. You have to drop all your knowledge. All that you have taken on faith has to be thrown down the drain. Nothing is valuable in it. So don't be worried. It is not a treasure. It is a tragedy. If you can get rid of it, you will feel light. You will feel suddenly unburdened. Your eyes fresh, like a child's eyes. All these layers of knowledge, Hindu, Christian, Mohammedan, Jewish, all these layers of knowledge, it does not matter who has committed the crime with you. All the religions are in the same boat, doing the same crime, and because they are all doing the same crime, nobody objects. The whole humanity is in their grip. And whenever a person like me objects, obviously he is to be condemned by all, criticized by all, not answered. Nobody have ever answered me. From my childhood I have been continuously asking. Nobody has ever answered a single question. There are no answers. When you understand it, that all answers are arbitrary, created by man, just to make you feel at ease. It is just like the mother telling to the child who is not ready to sleep alone in the room that don't be worried. Jesus is with you. You can sleep. You are not alone. And the child thinking that how the mother can deceive him. His own mother. Neither the mother thinks she is deceiving. She believes her mother had poisoned her. It's the same she is doing. To her own child. Naturally, what else she can do? The child is afraid to be alone. But he has to learn to be alone, to sleep alone. Soon he will be going to a boarding school. He has to learn to stand on his own. He cannot go on clinging to his mother's frock. How long? She finds a good reason that if he starts feeling the presence of Jesus or God and goes to sleep, the child will also feel at ease, less afraid. Nothing has changed. It is the same room. He is alone. The darkness is there. But now there is a little comfort that Jesus is looking after him. that God is looking after him, that God is everywhere. His own mother says so, his father says so, his teacher says so, his priest says so. Everybody cannot be wrong. And God is invisible, so you cannot see. But a certain at-easeness comes to him. That's what all this knowledge has been doing to you. It relieves you from inquiring. Inquiry is troublesome. In this world you cannot get anything unless you are ready to risk something to get it. And God you have got so cheap, without even asking. Now what value this God can have? Religion you have got so cheap. This religion, this God, are ways of mystifying existence so that your question remains repressed. My effort here consists in demystifying. Perhaps that's why the question has arisen. What place mysticism has in my religion? Because I am continuously demystifying. The questioner does not understand the difference between mysticism and mystifying. He thinks they are synonymous. They are not. They are against each other. It is mystifying that prevents mysticism to grow. And there is no other way except to destroy mysticism and mystifying completely, uproot it completely. And then there is no need for me to give you any answer. Your question is there and the existence is there. Who I am to come in between you and existence? Face the existence. Look at the sunrise, the sunset. You don't have any answers. You just see what is there. A tremendously beautiful sunset. You will be overwhelmed. You would love to sing or dance or paint or just lie down there on the grass and not to do anything. Just go on looking. And a certain communion between you and the beauty of the sunset starts happening. Something transpires. This is mysticism. You know nothing, and yet you know. There is knowledge which does not know at all, and there is and ignorance which knows everything. Because ignorance is innocence. I can say to you, blessed are the ignorant. But my second part of the sentence cannot be that they shall inherit the kingdom of God. No. Because that will be mystifying. I will say, blessed are the ignorant, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Already, now, here. It is not a question that they shall inherit sometime, somewhere, in some life, after death. That is mystifying. Mysticism is cash. Mystifying is a promissory note. Nobody knows. Whether you will be able to cash this promissory note. The government may fail. The bank may go bankrupt. Only banks can go bankrupt. Who else? And this promissory note can be cashed only after death. That is a condition in it. In God we believe. In God we trust. And the Pope promises you that this much will be given to you after death. But it is always after death. They have been exploiting people. Such simple exploitation that anybody who has a little bit of intelligence can see it. Life is mystery. Scriptures are mystifying. Scriptures are dead. Priesthood lives on these dead scriptures. A real, authentic man lives life, not scriptures. And by sheer living intensively, totally, he is surrounded by mystery all over. Each moment is a mystery. You can taste it, but you cannot reduce it into objective knowledge. That's the meaning of mystery. You have a certain way of knowing it, but there is no way to reduce it into knowledge. It never becomes knowledge. It always remains knowing. You have a sense of knowing. But if somebody insists that if you know, then give me the answer. If you are a true, honest man, you will say, I have a sense of knowing, but I also have another sense that it cannot be reduced into knowledge. That's why Lao Tzu refused his whole life not to write anything. For the simple reason, because the moment you write it, it is something else. But this can be detected only by one who has some acquaintance with mystery. It is not a question of scholarship. A scholar cannot detect anything wrong in Lao Tzu. Confucius was a great scholar in Lao Tzu's time, his contemporary. The world knows Confucius more than Lao Tzu. Naturally, he was a great scholar, a well-known, wise man. Great emperors used to visit him for advice. The emperor of China, who must have been the greatest emperor of those days, because China has always been a continent unto itself. He appointed him to be his prime minister. So that he is always available to him for advice. But when Confucius went to see Lao Tzu, do you know what happened? He came back almost in a nervous breakdown. His disciples, Lao Tzu was known at least to those people who were in search. And when the disciples of Confucius came to know that he is going to Lao Tzu, they waited outside. He was living in a mountain cave. Confucius did not want anybody else to accompany him because he knew that man is strange, unpredictable. How he may behave, what he will do, what he will say, nobody knows. And before your own disciples, he may cut you to pieces. It is better to go alone first. So he said to his disciples, you wait outside, let me go. And when he came out, he was trembling. And the disciples said, what happened? He said, just take me home. I am not myself. That man is a dragon. Never go to that man. What had happened there inside the cave? Because Lao Tzu